Morning, everybody. Well, afternoon, really. It's 1:30 here, 1:30 p.m. here on the Gold Coast, and it's been a slow week or a slow weekend for crypto. No one was quite sure what Bitcoin wanted to do, but it's moved. It's moved, and we have some fresh opportunities. So I'm going to take today, as I'm just turning my music down. Sorry, guys. I'm going to take today and do some TA. I'm going to take my charts, I'm going to refresh them all, and I'm going to do these charts from scratch with a focus on the 4-hour order blocks. In fact, I've got a new set of rules. Well, not a new set of rules. I've fixed up my rules a little bit, added a bit more structure into that. And what I want to do in my charts is focus on the 4 hours, focus on the breaker blocks, focus on the support and resistance. Add a few new flavors in there, and then when I'm looking for my 1 hour entries, I'll be using my 4-hour TA, and I think that's gonna lend me a lot better results than I've had in this past week. Because as I mentioned to you guys, my high time frame is actually pretty good success rate on that, and managed to just got a phone call, and managed to come back from $100 all the way up to $500 in that trading account. So throwing all of that out and just doing scalps, I think, was not a good idea. Certainly not a good idea for me. If I can manage to do scalping within my 4-hour TA, then we're going to have much better results. That's what we're going to do today. So what I want to do is share my screen with you, and we'll start with Bitcoin. I'm going to delete everything from my charts and start again, and you guys get to see then how we do proper charts. All right, sound good? Let's do it. Oops. Am I sharing my screen? Alright, now there we go. Okay, so it's that one. Alright, Bitcoin. Let me get rid of absolutely everything. Let's start from scratch. It's the only way we can really do this properly. Get rid of all distractions. I've got some new colors that I want to use, some new shape types, and we're going to start looking at the weekly. Whoops. Go away. Looking at the weekly. Why are we looking at the weekly? Well, it's important. Wow. Just looking at this, it's surprising how much and how close this looks to what Nick told us he thought was going to happen. Looking at weekly levels, we've clearly got support and resistance at this level, and that's what this box here is going to be. These are boxes with just, what would you call them, just edges in the middle. These are going to be my support and my resistance boxes. We've clearly got a weekly level support and resistance at these levels here, which was a level we were at on the 23rd of Jan, only a week ago, hitting on the bottom level support line just there. So it goes without saying, perhaps we could start seeing the top of this resistance line up here start getting tested later on this week. I mean, we've broken through everything else, so that's 25Ks next. I've been saying that for a while now. Look at the dailies. Dailies is a good opportunity for us to look for any daily order blocks. I like to use the daily order blocks, the 4-hour order blocks, whenever I'm trying to pick where I want to go in. I think if I do that again, knowing that those are the order blocks that I'm mainly concerned with, then it's going to net me much better results. So we do have a large daily order block right here. Now for order blocks, I want to make those colors the same as they used to be. You know what, let's switch it up. What's a good color for an order block? Purple background for order blocks? Yeah, I think I'll do that. Breaker blocks are really handy to use, especially when you use them in conjunction with daily order blocks. We do have a breaker block right here. So I'm going to make breaker blocks maybe gray. So this has now become a breaker block. The reason why it's become a breaker block is because it was a supply zone, right? Supply came in, dropped, leaving supply behind here. And because the price has come up through it, it's now a breaker block. It's a potential area of support. What we're looking for is within these zones, some congruence. I'm only going to zone up these areas here because I don't think price is going to move drastically down. But if it does, you know what, let's just make sure. We do a bit of charting down here. So support and resistance lines. Oops. We did have this. And I mean, support and resistance is going to have lines within it, right? It's at lower time frames. They have lines within it. Other things that we'd be looking for this kind of analytics would be, I'm not going to chart these up on this one right here, but as an example, absolutely looking for trend lines. Because when we know we have trend lines, we automatically know that we have stops, liquidity, and stops, as you can see here, stops built up, liquidity drains them. We know that happens. So that's what we're going to be doing with trend lines. Now we do have a trend line forming. This is a trend line. And I've even seen YouTubers talk about this trend line. They're saying jump on in on it, jump on this trend line. And trends are great to follow, but be wary as a supply and demand trader. Trend lines, whenever these candles hit the line, what do we get? We get stops. We get liquidity, and there's liquidity in this chart all the way down here. So we just want to keep that in mind. All right. My supply and demand got taken away. That was my fault. Let's add that back in. Big supply, big demand right here. Okay. Now, down to the 4 hours. I like the 4-hour order blocks. We can refine some of these daily order blocks to these 4-hour order blocks, and I think that helps us a lot. Because these daily order blocks, yes, they were important, but we can now refine them to 4-hour order blocks. And this was a daily breaker, well, this can now be a 4-hour breaker. Gives us tighter entry points. Now, in terms of not supply demand, in terms of resistance, yeah, I'm pretty happy with these. All right, so as we can see here, over this past day or so, this past week, we've been living in this zone here. We've been living in this structure right here. We've been watching this. We've been milking this dry. And every time we thought it would go south, it seemed to break higher and higher and higher. Now that we've had this high broken here, we know that it's going to go higher. We know higher prices are coming, and it's going to test them. So what are we looking for? At this level, for our order blocks, let's take a look at those. We can see this order block that we've been in, which is now a breaker block. This order block that we've been in, well, it was the order block that came through. It's been drained. Is that as tight as it can be? Double check. All right, it's been drained once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. But in this particular case, it's got stronger over time. People were increasing their stops all last week, right? Stops, lots of stops. If smart money wants to, it will come down and take those. It will. But it's got plenty of stops all the way here to go first. To me though, it looks like this price needs to go higher. That's what I'm seeing. What are you guys seeing? Okay. In my view, we could see a couple of things. Because there's a large amount of stops here, we could see a price come down and take those and then go higher. And that's probably what I think will happen, honestly. There were stops up here, like we had even highs form. The other day people were getting a bit excited because Bitcoin had rallied up to here. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's cool. It's cool and all, but there were stops there, which meant Bitcoin had to take them. Now that it's taken them, we've got stops, and the stops have all moved up here. Even highs, guys, even highs. It creates stops there. So what do I think is going to happen? Let me just make sure that that's not like good. I think the price is going to come down. I think we get another entry point. Now, looking at the price action that's happened here, it's very consolidated. So it's a good market. It does mean that it's unlikely the price is going to need to come and test these areas here. This area down here is still imbalanced. There is an imbalance there, right from there down to here. So you could see this small little 4-hour order block come down and get tested. If we do, in my view, that'd be a great place to take up a long. Before I add that long in though, let's just do a fib retrace from the bottom, top. Oh, that's just, I mean, that's a nice entry point there. That's not actually not going to tell me too much. From the bottom to the top of there, we get a nice 60% area to enter. So I think that's pretty good. That's a good retracement area right there. If we're going to put a long on there, targeting the previous high, we can get a nice 4.6. It's lovely. Stop. Okay, here's where we have to think a bit strategically, right? Where do we place our stops? Obviously, if the price comes down and breaks through this area here, it's going to change the structure, right? It's going to mean that the price could come lower. If the price is going to come lower, we could pick up another long from this order block right here. Now this order block is within this big breaker block here. It's an area that's been drained. It does seem to have a lot of stops in there. So perhaps that could mean smart money won't necessarily be able to break through so quickly. Oops. And if we're going to have... Why is it picking that up? Wait, give me that. Yep, nope. Sorry. Training View is not playing ball with me today. There we go. Perhaps that area there is a place we want to take a long from if it does break through this first one. So there's two options there. If it breaks through this one, well, I'm sorry, but then all of a sudden we're bearish. That would be a lower low. And I don't want to be in that trade. I'll be looking for a short if that's the case. So those are my two thoughts for Bitcoin. What do you guys think of those? And since that's a breaker, I should probably change the color. Maybe gray border and a gray background? Order blocks being purple, breaker blocks being grey. Yeah, that's not too bad. Supply and demand. Well, maybe that shouldn't be purple. Support and resistance. Maybe that should be like green. Or blue. We'll go blue. Blue for support and resistance. Blue for support and resistance. So the idea is you find key points where these all start to line up. Right? So we do have support and resistance here too at the 4-hour level. And the reason why this trade down here would be really good is because it's at that 4-hour resistance level. you probably even says daily. Is that a daily resistance level? It is. So this particular order block here, this trade that we'd have down here, within an order block, a 4-hour order block, inside of a breaker block, at the bottom of resistance lines. Yeah, that's a very congruent trade. So that trade there, if we get down to it, whoops, if we get down to this trade here, this would be one I'd be putting on for a full 3%. To me, that's a highly probable trade. And I can get a 3.5. I could get a much better trade if I wait and wait for the price to come into this zone. That'll give me a way better trade. But if I just want to put it on, if I'm going to sleep, if I'm not sure, I can put the alarm on, but I'm probably not going to be available when the alarm goes off, just knowing how I work. So probably I'll put this kind of a trade on. But if I'm here throughout the day, I'll leave it running while I'm watching my charts. But chances are this move will happen very quickly. That's my BTC chart. What do you guys think? Does that line up with what you're thinking? Does it line up with what Nick's thinking, I wonder? Let's see. I won't show Nick's chart on the stream. Just because I know there's a lot of paid members who you know, pay a lot of money to get access to Nick's charts. I don't think I should be showing them on the stream. Oh, he's got that same breaker block. Is that the same one? Yeah, he's using this same one. And he's targeting that range high up here. Saying that's a potential place to go. Okay, similar, very similar. Yeah, very similar. Okay, cool. You got the right idea. So if I'm going to be taking scalps, what am I going to be scalping? That's a good question. That's a really good question, because the goal of the past couple of weeks has really been to practice my scalps. And in setting that as a goal, all I really did was lose trades because I was looking for them too much. I was getting overly confident. It's a new area of trading for me, scalping, but because I was overconfident with my high time frame trades, I really didn't think, and I lost a lot of trades. Didn't lose a lot of money. Only 1% risk, but I did lose a lot of trades, and I want to avoid that. So I think I'll stick to the 4 hours for now. But I'll take scalps. And let's have a look at the 1 hour. Let's have a look. I need a new strategy for this. The rules that I've set in place for the scalps: no more than 2 scalps at a time. Structure needs to have a high and a low. So I think the biggest problem with my scalping of the past 2 weeks was that when Bitcoin moved up, I didn't wait for the structure to form. I remember this structure here formed, and I didn't wait for it. I really should have. I really should have. I just assumed that it would. Yeah. Anyway, that was a mistake. Must align, my rule number 3, it must align with my TA from the 4-hour chart. And I think now that I have this TA of the 4-hour chart sitting here, and I'm going to do this for every coin. Before I start scalping other coins, I'm going to do this on every coin that I'm interested in. I'm going to do that today. Because my TA has to align. I can't just go picking out 1-hour charts and spots on here. Never trade at 50% of the low time frame range. I think that's still valid. Must target highs and lows of the low time frame range, and it must be able to go 3 or above. So I got to be not clever, but realistic with how far I think the 1-hour chart can go. And I need to always set stops when my bias is invalidated. I think those are reasonable. So one of the things I think I did wrong in scalping was, when you look at this 1-hour chart, when you pull up a fib, You could say that maybe this price here might retrace back to this point here, and you could take that above, but realistically, I need to remember that the 4-hour order blocks are like magnets. So, you can't just take a 1-hour run, put a fib on it, and expect the price to come to the 60% mark. When there's an order block just below it at 70, but more importantly, there's a 4-hour order block that is more likely to test. So I need to, when taking scalps, be thinking more about the 4 hours and where the price is more likely to go, rather than just putting some fibs up on a chart and hoping for a 60% retracement. I don't think that's a valid option anymore. I don't think it ever was a valid option. Alright, so with that in mind, what would I do for a scalp? You could have taken a short here, but I don't like that because it's very bullish. And yes, we're looking for the price to come down, but we can't guarantee it. I'd be putting, like, on these two things here, I'd be putting a 3% risk on these, so these aren't exactly scalps. I need to think about this some more. Where would the opportunities be to scalp? Tops and the bottoms of the ranges are where I should be scalping from. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So maybe scalping from the resistance lines. I think I had that in. Yep. Okay, must target the highs and the lows. So, of resistance. Current structure. Okay, that's much better actually. Now because we've had the highs and lows here, there was opportunities there, and there for scalps, and they could be 1% trades. Structure change, broke free, you could take scalps, tops and bottoms of this structure. Yeah, okay. Now, new structure forming up here and a load on a 1 hour chart. Not good for a scalp right now. Not enough structure there. I think that's much better. I think that changes a lot there. Must target highs and lows of the resistance of support, resistance of current structure. Okay. I like these rules. That's going to reduce a lot of the scalps I was taking and increase the likelihoods of the scalps that I will take. I'm happy with that. Alright, next, let's look at the ETH. Look at the ETH. That's Bitcoin. I will mention I am in an XRP trade right now. I do have a long on XRP. It's looking pretty good. I'll probably set that to break even. Reason why I took this particular long is some TA I did earlier. And got a 4-hour order block right here. But because it is right on top of a 1-hour order block here, I decided a 1% risk only on this one, because there was the chance that price might just come through this 4-hour order block and test this bigger order block down below, which has been hit once, twice already. So this one here, again, that would probably for me be another 1% trade because it's been hit a few times. Although, on the other hand, it is a 4-hour order block within support and resistance. So it's 2 out of 3 of my checkpoints. I want to put my checkpoints here. Checkpoints. So, when is trade? I don't want to word this. Checkpoints. These are the things I want to ask myself to determine the likelihood of a trade working. So, at a key support resistance line, okay, fresh order block, and inside breaker block. Alright, those are the three things that I want to try and get. Okay, there's the three things. Add a key support resistance line, fresh 4-hour auto block, inside a breaker block. If you can get those three things, then it's a pretty highly congruent trade. If you can get 2 or 3 of those things, then probably that's something I want to lower my risk on. Okay, then we'll have my rules about when I can and can't enter the trades. Cool, alright. So there's my XRP chart there. Support resistance is actually on this one. Down there. We've broken into that one. Chances are for XRP then we're going to probably want to test the 04568 or less. Probably just slightly less. I think it's going higher. I reckon I can move that up to there. In fact, I probably will. Why not? Have take profit 1 up here. Once the price comes up above this point here, that's when I set that to my break-even type price. In terms of, yeah, I don't think much more TA needs to happen here. I need to make the system line up, so these now need to be purple edges. Purple edges for auto blocks. Auto blocks are purple. Supply and resistance, well, these need to be blue. Do we have any breaker blocks in play? Well, not that I can see at the moment. Can't see any clear breaker blocks that gonna be worth looking at. Alright. Let's take a look at Sol. Let's get rid of all this. Oh, Sol, look at it, almost juicy. On the weekly level, I can get rid of that now. Sol has certainly taken a hammering on the weekly level. Yikes. But it's interesting is in terms of dailies, we have this daily auto block sitting here. That's going to get tested for sure. Look at this. We're edging our way towards it. Now we do have a key support and resistance line right here. It was broken, of course, but that is pretty key right there. It's been hit a few times on the daily level. We do have support and resistance lining up on this week here. Something to be mindful of. Alright. In the past, we have a few key support resistance lines. Just to be mindful of. This is an auto block, so that needs to be purple and purple background. Nice big auto block. That's a daily auto block too, so that's pretty intense zone. These are my support resistance lines there. Okay. I don't see any others that I need to worry about too much right now. Now we'll go to the 4-hour chart. Now 4-hour auto block right here. You have another this is a massive auto block here, but we're sitting inside of it, or we were sitting inside of it for so long. Didn't really have anything that reacted off it. we did break, so we've had a clear break in structure. One break in structure here, causing this one. So we'll just draw this out. Break in structure. And then another break in structure right here. Two big breaks. And this auto block was the auto block that it came off, and leaving another auto block right there. So this auto block has been hit once. So it's not a fresh OB. So on the checklist here, it's not a fresh 4-hour, but it is a 4-hour. And it is at a clear. We've got a, on the 4-hour level, a resistance line down here. So, what does this tell me? Oops. Hey, go back. For Sol, I reckon this spot here is a decent spot. It's got 2 out of 3. We're at a resistance level. Well, we're close to it at least. It is a resistance level that's been popped a couple of times, but it's close to it. It is in a 4-hour auto block. It has been triggered once with a nice big trigger. It could come down again for the 3rd time and go even higher. That is possible. Now we do have this trend line here that has caused stops, so I think it is likely. It is somewhat likely that the price could even come through this auto block here and pick up a nice trade on that auto block there. And so what I would be doing is along here. This would be more like a scalp entry, I would think. I want to be able to get a 3 from there to there, and we can get a 4.6. That's actually pretty good. With the option to take it up to there as take profit 2. Now, I wouldn't be putting a huge amount into risk on this. Maybe 1 to 2%. Although it does have 2 of the 3, so it's actually pretty good. Maybe a 3% in this one, to be honest. Option number 2, if it breaks free of that, I don't see any other big auto blocks. I think it might teeter around for a while, but I do think this would be the option here. Just looking, we do have this 4-hour auto block right here. I don't think, and it's not a fresh auto block either. It's not a fresh auto block. It's been hit. I'm just going to draw it in so that I know it's there. Oh, this one. There we go. Because really, that does change things a little bit. It's not at a key support or resistance line. So it doesn't have that going for it. And it's not fresh, it doesn't have that for it. But it is a 4-hour auto block. So I might need to consider that when putting my stop. Does that change this? Does that still get me a 3? It gives me a 3.5. Okay. Now in terms of this one, we need to take it to that auto block and we get a 3.5. 3.15. I think that's reasonable. And possibly 12 if it really happens. So that's my idea there for Sol. In terms of what we could have been doing for scalping, tops and bottoms of these, there was definitely a shorting scalp option right there. Probably on the 1 hour, I would think. Yep, that was an option there. From pretty high up in the actual structure. So yeah, there were options there for scalping. For now though, I don't think so. Not until new structure is formed. Although, We still with for Bitcoin. We're just about ready to break through that structure. But you'd be crazy to take a short right now, I would think. Alright, so that's what I'm waiting for. On the 1 hour level, I've got a few different places you could try and get this entry. Another option would be to have this set to there. No, I don't like that. I'd probably do something like that. A nice big long stop. Alright. We've done ETH. Let's do ETH. Where are you, ETH? All right. Start with the daily. Okay, well for ETH we've got two potential targets. Let's compare this to Bitcoin for a second. So Bitcoin has only got that one target above, whereas ETH, we've broken this one. Or have we? Pretty much broken. There's now a huge amount of, already straight off the bat we can see, huge amount of stops right there. Huge amount. Now we've also got this zone up here that's waiting to get taken, and then this zone. So two potential areas. That is an order block. Daily order block. And so is that. Support and resistance. We've got support and resistance right here. Okay, there's my support and resistance lines. And look, they go way back. They're pretty historical. I'll keep them from there. Now, of course, we do have the ones down here. I don't think we're going to need to worry about those for the moment. We'll add them onto the chart, but if we need them later. So, do we have any breaker blocks in play? I mean, this whole support resistance line here is a breaker block that we are within. Alright, looking for my 4-hour order blocks. Of course, we had this 1 for 1 here, but it's it's completely invalidated now. In terms of this structure, that's the 4-hour order block, and this one. I think that one there is the order block, really. But honestly, I just take it to the whole thing. Alright, over to our big structure here. What's been feeding all of this? That was the 4 hour right there. And as you can see, came in there, had a reaction. Wasn't the biggest reaction. It certainly didn't break new highs. It just broke there, so it was planning on going higher, and it hasn't come back to this order block again. It had a fresh order block right here, and that's been feeding this one here. It's been hit once, twice, 3 times, and we have a fresh order block right here. All right, this is cool. It's cool because it's fresh. Is it within a supply and resistance zone? Well, looking at 4 hour chart, this is from the 20. Yeah, you could say that is a support and resistance zone. I'm just going to make this one blue for support and resistance. It is. Okay. 2 things are ticked. Fresh 4 hour order block. Inner support and resistance. What was the other one? Inside of a breaker block. Well, it's not really inside of a breaker block, but I mean, this whole thing really is. 2 out of 3. I kind of like this. This one right here. Can I bring it to the top? Alright, so we would go long. If this trade was wrong, we'd want to pick up another long down the bottom. And if we go long here, yeah, there's a decent risk to reward we have there. 5.3. The only trouble is this order block right here. In order to get a decent trade, we could break it up. If I'm wrong on this one, that's the thing. If I'm wrong on this order block here, if this order block is wrong, the small one right here, chances are price will let us know, hey, that's a wrong order block, but we're still within this one right here, this big order block here that has been hit once, twice, 3 times. There's a chance it could fail, but there's also a chance it could take off. But even if it doesn't take off, it might not take off big. If it breaks through this order block, this fresh order block here, this second order block, it's already been drained a few times. We are at risk. So I definitely want a second option down here. But then these need to make sense. That's the thing. These need to make sense. So maybe something like that. That's a decent plan. In terms of scalps, I'm not looking for a scalp on this at the moment. With this new breakup here, yeah, I don't think so. And in terms of risk, I'd probably put this at a 1 and this at a 3. This one has more resistant lines than this one. I think this one's definitely a better trade, and this one here is a slightly riskier trade, considering that the order blocks are so close. I wouldn't not put it on though. I just have it on as a 1. My trades require a decent pullback. What if we want to scalp the range? Well, I don't think scalping the range for me is on ETH is a good option right now. Because I think it's going to fly. I mean, I'm not planning on doing a scalp if I think the price is going to go up. I'm trying to catch the retracement if it does happen. But this is, I mean, this is crypto. it might retrace to the 60% level. It might retrace, and if it does that, I mean, if it retraces to the 60% level, you're not going to get a decent scalp in. You're just opening yourself up for risk from this point for a short. The times of scalping, I think, were here, 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 and you know, when it's at the top and the bottoms of the ranges. But we're forming a range now at the top. We're forming this range, so I don't think it's wise to take a scalp short from here. I don't think so. Not today. Not in this coin. What about for Bitcoin? I don't think it's short. Maybe at the top? No, we've already broken the top. That's the problem. We've broken the top. That's why I'm not doing a range, top of the range scalp on Bitcoin. That top is broken. Yes, we're likely for Bitcoin for these stops to get taken. I think the price could definitely come down, but I'm not necessarily going to scalp that. I could, but at the same time, you know, I'm not completely confident that it's not just going to break through here and cause new highs. Like, it looks really bullish. Then we've broken that top. For me, it's not too much of a risk on that for a scalp. For XRP, we're at the bottom here, and I did take a scalp. So I took that this morning. Depends on the coin, hey. So we got to look at each coin as it's congruent with Bitcoin. So they're kind of linked, but each coin has their own life cycle. So I did take that scalp on XRP. And I'm taking it from there. I'm actually going to take it to the top of the range. And then option 2 is hopefully it's going to break free and take me to the top of there. Solana is almost in a better position to take a scalp on, in my opinion, because you know the price could come down here. We could scalp the price back up. That's what I'm planning on doing with this particular trade. But right now, I'm just getting my TA sorted out for the rest of the week, or the next few days at least. Scalping is great, but as I've seen from my pretty piss poor week last 2 weeks, I need to be smarter about where I'm taking my scalps. Okay, I'm not just going to not randomly, but I'm not just going to take a scalp in a structure that hasn't formed itself yet. You might say this particular structure here is the top of this structure, but it's not. It's actually broken free. It's broken free. So now we're going to see where it takes us, and then with the new structure that forms, then we can be looking at shorts. But shorting when everything's bullish, not a great idea. Alright, so those are my top 3 coins. I want to do BNB. Oh, it's looking tasty. It's looking lovely. BNB hasn't looked this good for ages. Alright, let's clean this all up and start again. I had too many squares the same color before. Now I'm going to break these up. Alright, this trend line, still there. I still think there is room. If Smart Money wanted to, it could definitely take these, but looking at Bitcoin, sorry, look at BNB, it's still within that structure here. Alright, anyway. The daily. What do we see on the daily? More junk. Alright, we have a kind of congruent area of resistance on the dailies. You can see we've kind of just been in on that for a while now. And then we've broken free of that from the left. It's broken, completely broken, which is great. Where could we be going? Well, look at these areas up here. We can free the area up here. Yeah, I think only reasonable place to really go is going to be here. Which we tested back in November. I think we're going back there. Okay, that is a massive daily order block right there. I like the fact that it's already been hit. What is this? But what does this daily tell us? We broke free of this last remaining piece right here. And that tells us we'd be looking to go higher. The only higher options that we have is this order block, which has already been mitigated by the red candle to its right. So it's already been mitigated, this daily order block. It's gone. So I think we're going to shoot right through there. Sure, we might stop on some resistance here. That could definitely happen. There might be some resistance here. At these levels. But ultimately I think it's gonna break through that and retest these highs over here. Alright, now we do have this line here, this trend line. And that does mean we do have stops. I'm just going to put these down because we just need to know that they're stop sitting here. It could happen that the price does come down and pick up some of this liquidity before it jumps back up. It's not something I'm going to be putting a trade on with, but we need to be mindful of it. In terms of order blocks, here we go. Order blocks and supply and resistance. We've got supply and resistance zones. It's a bit all over the place, honestly, with Sol. Where does this sit? I guess there's resistance there. And here. Okay, 4-hour order blocks. We've got an order block here that's been hit a couple of times. It's actually been broken. This massive order block here, which has been jumped into with a lot of energy too, which was fantastic. And that mitigated a fair few of these stops over here. Big order block there that pushed everything up. Right there. What's been driving this? We had a breaker block. Ah, cool. Drive breaker block in right here. It's going to be grey. And this breaker block became what was feeding most of that, hey. Let's say the whole thing was a breaker. Oh, that's a very busy block, but it got mitigated. It's gone as of there. But it still kept feeding, didn't it? Might stay then. That became the next breaker right there. At a key level of resistance too, which is why that would have been a great trade right there. Okay, are there any fresh 4-hour order blocks in the recent time? We have an order block here. Get this over here. This auto block came from this break-in structure right here. Okay, and it got hit once. I don't know if you call them fresh hits, but there was some accumulation going on before it's taken off. We haven't had new highs form off that auto block. So, we do have another fresh auto block. And this fresh auto block is probably what I think, oops, will be the next best option for a scalp. Unmitigated, untested, fresh, at a somewhat of a resistance zone. It's ticking 2 out of 3. You can get a 5. Oh, that's nice. Okay, it is a riskier trade. This is a riskier scalp. Why? Because you have a bigger order block at 4 hours beneath it, and a breaker block. Price could come down and take all of these stops. If it does, I'd be thinking this zone down here would be, where the best trade that you could get. And each trade along here would be a little bit more risky as the price comes down. I'd take a scalp there. I'd go long. Get higher highs forming. If the price comes down here, picks up this trade, it's still a higher low. I like it. I like it a lot. Pretty reasonable. What do you guys think? Can you take a long there? We have had some resistance here, 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 and here. Not an awful lot, but yeah, I like it. I think the reaction would be really fast. I don't think, yeah, it could do. That's why I'd only take it at 1%. That's the idea with the scalps. Scalps are riskier trades, so you're taking only 1% of your entire. You're only risking 1% of your account. You might not even get a chance to see if it holds, mate. Price might just come down in here. It's a fresh order block, and it'll just be the retesting before it goes higher. And looking at Bitcoin, since Bitcoin has broken that, I'd be looking at coins I can take higher. It'd be better to be able to get it down here. It'd be far better to get it down here. But you might not be able to. You might never see that price. I'll draw it up anyway. Still a nice trade at a 4.94. Price breaks free of this one, which it could very well do. Even give myself a little bit more room there. Price breaks free, pick up that trade as a second option. Third option, don't like that breaker block. I don't think that's going to be in play. Price might come down into there. I think this one here, and this one here. This one especially. I think this one down here is too deep. In terms of retracements from, yeah, this is a nice one here, 60% nearly. From the bottom of the structure to the very top, 60% retracement there. That one's pretty good. In terms of recent lows to highs, first trade I have sits between 50 and 60%, still within the rules. Yeah, cool. All right, that's BNB. Next, we will look at Chiliz. OPU and Chiliz will be up next. Soppy, Sol. We'll do this one. Let's do Chiliz. Let me check my XRP trade. Looking good. You can see here, this is a similar concept idea to the BNB trade. It's one of the top fresh order blocks. Okay, fresh being it hasn't been touched before. I did a 1% trade on this, knowing it could very well break through this order block here. But this is the last order block that it could hit, possibly before we see new highs. You don't know. It's all random. So just picking the spots that are likely to hit, but then also mitigating your risk. This was a riskier trade because it's not at the bottom of the resistance. It's a 4-hour order block for sure, but there's another 4-hour order block just beneath it. So it's a slightly riskier trade. Therefore, put less on that one. Only 1%. Chiliz. All right, let's start this one from scratch. Chiliz and OPU are the two big ones that I'm looking at today, I think. There have been some amazing performing coins over the past 2 weeks. The volume has been intense. Alright, looking at the daily. Chiliz came a long way down, which is great because that means there's a long way up to go. Get rid of that. I don't need that. Go away. Remove. Okay. We are currently in a pretty... Yeah, this is a support resistance zone right here. Definitely a resistance zone. Not so much support. I mean, it's close being there, but the structure didn't go down as far as it did historically. But this is definitely the support resistance zone that we're currently in, and I'm just going to mark this as blue. Like the other charts. Daily support and resistance. You can see here in Chiliz there are a lot of opportunities for scalps at the top. But we've broken free of that. We've broken free of support and resistance. And we've broken free of this too. So let's take a look at where we think it could head to. We've broken this one here. We've broken free of that. So the next one's up to test will be this area here. Wow, that was only back in November. And Chiliz could pump. Really could. Okay, we've broken from there. So we'll be probably testing here next. So these are 4-hour order blocks. And we're going to make these purple. Why purple? They just stand out a bit against the black. That's the only reason. Alright. Next order block is just here. And the next one will be right there. And that's a pretty significant order block there. It's already been tapped into once. Pretty much twice. So those are the key zones I'll be looking at. Now, get rid of this. In terms of breaker blocks, that is a breaker block right there. It was the order block we had feeding these movements, and we've broken free of it now. It could become support right here for a long, potentially. Just looking at the chart briefly, that's what it could mean. In terms of over here, we've had this order block, which was pretty significant. See here, it was the driving force behind all this movement. It was broken from here and traded into. It's interesting. Alright, from 4-hour order blocks as well, we've got down here. May as well include that one there. They're kind of clustered together. Not much point breaking them up. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, go away. We make this order block a little bit bigger. Let's have a look at the 8-hour, just because this one's a bit clustered. Yeah, that looks good. And then we've got another one down there. Which was traded into, and it was kind of the one that drove that big force up. This fresh order block down here was tapped into, and it hasn't been tapped into again. Oops. Now, in terms of fresh order blocks up here, we do have this order block right here. Tapped into and traded into, and that's been the one there. We've got this tiny one right here, which is within this 4-hour, and that's been tapped into, pushing the price up. No fresh order block for Chiliz for a bullish move. So that might not be one that I take because that's not fresh. In terms of support and resistance, there is a resistance line down here though. If you look at this level, so of course we have this resistance line here, but we've got that there. I'm going to color that one blue. Blue for support and resistance. Yeah, so I wouldn't take this one on Chiliz today, because there's other opportunities where the order blocks are fresh. Even this one here, this order block right here. I think I already tried to get that one, but I colored it blue by accident. This order block here, it's not fresh, it's been tapped into. We have all these clustered order blocks here. None of them are fresh. So price could come down and tap into this one or this one and go up. But we've also got a trend line right here. Meaning we have lots of stops right there. So I think we could on Chiliz. I think we could see price come down. Not a great place for a short because of course the price structure comes up to here. Oh, this is the 4-hour level. And that's fair enough. Price comes up to there. So I mean, if you're looking at scalps and you've taken one here, yeah, I mean it's possible. It's just I'm very bullish. I don't even think that's going to retrace, but if it does retrace, I'll be wanting to pick up something down here, perhaps something down here. It's very consolidated, this price. I mean, which is really good for trading, not so good for scalping and looking for order blocks. So for the moment, for today at least, there are some riskier trades here to take, and maybe the one I would consider taking. Let's have a look at a fib. From the bottom of this price structure since the 25th of January to the top, there is a 60% retracement You could try that. You'd want to have a pretty big stop on it. That's a thing. So something like that. Something like that for a scalp. See ya, man. Have a good day. Good luck in your trades. Oh man, I'm really happy with that XRP trade. Looking pretty good. Let's go. All right, Chile is done. What was next? OPU. OPU, it just looks like it's waiting for a breakout. Key support resistance lines are there. And also there. There's a lot of key support resistance zones. Okay. In terms of 4-hour auto blocks, oh, that was not the right time frame. That was 15 minutes. No. Let's do it again from 4 hours. Okay. That's better. Four-hour auto blocks. 1. Second one right here. That's a pretty congruent trade right there. Because you've got the structure to the left supporting that, especially support and resistance. It's a key resistance line there. That would have been a great place to put along. All right. So you can see here, we had this price structure right here. It doesn't not really lining up in that case. Was it lining up in the 4-hour? Maybe I'm just seeing things. Definitely was support and resistance there. Not really lining up too much here, other than not really. Skip that one. Yeah, broken free of that structure. Don't know how high this one's going to go, but I think it could go pretty high. No idea though. No idea where I would set my take profit because there's no structure to support it. Maybe that's why everything is very rigid on OPU. I think definitely though, you take a long from here. That is take profit 1, take profit 2. I don't know, just leave it off and see where you get to. I didn't really see that many 4-hour auto blocks at the top end, but at the bottom end, broken structure a couple of times. Really long candles in OPU. I don't see many places you could have taken great shorts from. I mean, it's tough. You would have got stopped out there, but I mean, there was probably the problem is there was nowhere to put your stops up here. Longs, yeah, there were a lot of opportunities for longs here. Yeah, that's the idea for OPU. What did we had for volume? GMT, we'll take a look at GMT next. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. Need a coffee. All right. We already can see we had a big break in structure for GMT, which is fantastic. Let's get rid of these. We have a few different support and resistance zones we can look at. Biggest one is here. Obviously, it's not in play at the moment. So I'll leave that. I'll leave it there. Support zone there, resistance up there, which we've broken. And another key support resistance zone up here. Which we're kind of in right now. Now in terms of order blocks, that's a pretty congruent zone right there. We've had a bearish order block, two bearish order blocks come out of this one. It's definitely a potential target. It'd certainly be the next place we test. Now we've broken free of that one and that one. There is an order block here. I think this is the one we're currently testing. That one right there. Now in terms of current structure, we have a lovely big order block right here. Unmitigated, fresh, local order block. This order block looks like it came from a breaker block over here. Now over here, we've got a big support line. We've got a 4-hour order block right here. It's not fresh, it's been mitigated. But price is coming back down into it. Price hasn't reacted of it, it's almost completely gone. I think, could it be this is one coin that maybe doesn't take off? Surely not. Is there a lower block? There is a breaker block down below. Where would we say that what came from there? Where are all of these feeding from? Really? We have this blue candle here. I mean, could that be the breaker block that was feeding all of these? Could be. So what would I do? GMT, I'd like to wait for this one down here. But I don't know if it's going to retrace that far. It's just this order block's been mitigated and it doesn't look healthy. It got completely wiped. All that liquidity is gone. And it doesn't make me want to jump in on that. Even though we've had a breaking structure here, higher highs formed, lower structure here, I think we could see a liquidity grab. So if I'm going to take a position on GMT, it would have to be here. It doesn't make sense to go anywhere else. And potential, if that breaks through, then potentially there. But I don't think this would break through. It's a fresh order block, as is this one, or freshish, the second one. This one down here, really, I don't think we're going to get this low. Yeah, look, I think those are the three options for OPU right now. For GMT, sorry, not OPU. Oh man, so many coins to go. To do them slowly over the next few days. We've already been doing this for an hour and a half. All right, we do have trend line formed here, and that does mean this stops. I think these stops are going to get taken. No, stops galore. Especially right here. There's no bullish structure here to grab onto a trade, so I think this level here is the one to go to. I think that's the right one there. That'd be what I take. It's a pretty good trade though, like 7 risk to reward ratio of 7. It's just for this to come down that far, Bitcoin's probably going to have to come down. I wonder if it will. have had a, in the 1 hour chart, have had a break. There's been a break in structure here. Maybe a 1 hour scalp. Not a big break, but if you are of a scalping nature, I'm going to do a paper trade. Just a paper trade. See how the paper trade goes. I'm not feeling very confident about it. All right. Any other coins I want to take a look at while I'm here? Let me see. I was looking at Tron. What are the top? What are the tops we got? Luna. I'm asking for trade volume. You tell me Luna? I don't think so. Bitcoin, Sol, APT. We could look at APT. Let's look at APT. Just gonna clean this up. I'm gonna leave the trend line in there because that hasn't changed. APT kicking goals. I mean, we're in a bullish structure on AP3. There is no doubting that, and there's no structure to the left here for me to really even pull into this trade. I can't really show too much support resistance because we don't have that data. On the 4 hour, we have this gorgeous trend line, creating stops all the way down. In terms of supply, in terms of support resistance, pretty stock standard for GMT. For APT. Those are the two big zones we probably need to worry about. I don't see it coming down too far more than that, so I'm not even going to chart the lower part right now. It'll just make the chart messy. So for key order blocks, we have one. And it's been hit one time, kind of briefly. More or less fresh. And that one just tapped in. Tapped that in. And that also mitigated that order block right there, so that's not really useful. We do have a lovely order block down here. That is unlikely to get touched again, but it's there for the future. It's very consolidated on APT at the 4 hour level. Okay, those are my key order blocks. I'm not seeing too much else in terms of breaking structure, that's the thing. Now, on the 1 hour level, I'd love for the price to come down to here. I'd love for those stops to get taken and to take a long from this order block here. Oops. That's what I would really, really like. No, I want to go long. I think I was clicking the right button. I've just been an idiot. Targeting the resistance for a 5 and the top for a 7. It's pretty good. We have a 1 hour auto block right here, and look, I don't think I'd even take that. You could, you know what? It is top of resistance, which becomes support for this level. Actually, that would have been a pretty decent scalp. This coin is pretty good for scalping, to be honest. There's a lot of consolidation going on. And because of the volume, it might be a good coin to scalp. So I'll keep that in mind. What's next? So it looks like Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and APT are the coins to be looking at. I'll do Gala and Matic. Gala and Matic. Gala. Just going to change the color of that. It's still valid. That is the order block that I think we're going to hit into. I think. In terms of support resistance, just trying to marry this up to where I see the biggest zones. I think it was here. Definitely there was one here. Okay, now for auto blocks. Going down to the 4-hour zone. Got a fresh auto block right here, unmitigated, ready to go. Another one down there at the support level, or yeah, that's the support zone. That'd be a good one, but it hasn't been tapped into. That's waiting. Down here, we've got 4-hour auto block right there. And a big one here that's already been tapped into, which created this big run up. Now, I'm seeing this was a doji candle, and I'm seeing this red candle here is almost considered, I would consider this to be the order block because it's been tapped into once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I would not be putting my order here. Been tapped into too many times, and the results got bigger and then smaller. We've got this new fresh auto block here. If I'm going to do it along, I want to be doing it from here. If the price comes too deep into this zone, it's just going to fall right through. And you can pick up along there. In terms of breaker blocks, do we have any? We do. We do. Do we? It's been mitigated too many times. You can see here, this is the 4-hour auto block that we're currently hit. That's the guy. That's the guy right there. That's now a breaker block. And I think we have another one right here. Which is a key level of resistance. All right. Would I take it in the Angola? Yeah, I'd probably take this long here, honestly. It's pretty cool. For now, since I'm already in a trade, I mean, it's only a 1% off. Nothing to write home about. So I'd be interested in looking for another trade, possibly. What would I take? What would I take? Well, it wouldn't be that short. That's for sure. That's just wanted to see what would happen if I would short the top of the range. That's just an experiment. These candles here have mitigated anything here, so they've taken all those stops. We do have a bunch of stops here, which is why this short could actually work. But not why I'm not willing to put any money on it, that's all. There's no other auto blocks I'd want to be targeting in here. There's 1 hour auto blocks. But I tried them all last week. I'm sticking to 4 hour auto blocks. So I'm going to wait until this comes down here. And I'm going to go long. For now, I think I'm going to hold off on Bitcoin. Same with ETH. I'm in XRP right now. There is this one on GMT. There's this 4 hour auto block here. It's already been mitigated. It is a potential. I just don't like it, so I'm not going to put an order on there, but I am going to put a paper trade on there. At least then I can feel like I'm in it. Just to see what would have happened. The reason why I wouldn't go in on this one, not just because it's been mitigated, that's important, it's not fresh. But it is at that daily support level. Isn't that support level here? It was fresh, didn't have a huge reaction, so I wouldn't go back in. And while it is a good auto block, it did have a nice big long break here. It didn't break previous highs. I think GMT needs to consolidate further down before it can be pushed up higher. I think. So we'll just paper trade that one. Sol, waiting for it to come back down into here. I don't know why this block here is so big. The auto block is there. The trade is there. Really, that could be broken up into a couple of different trades. That's a bit better. Yep, happy with that one. XRP I'm happy with. Maybe you. Yeah, that could be a decent idea. Wait a minute, did I miss something? I think I missed something. That's the 1 hour chart, okay. I thought I missed a 4 hour order block. OPU would have been good. Possible. Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't want to be doing any scalp shorts right now because of the bullish nature of the charts at the moment. Cool. Look, I'm kind of happy with everything I've mapped out. Oh, except that's 1 hour. I think I'm just gonna have to sit and wait for the next move. Alright guys, I'm gonna log off for now. Thanks for watching though. Catch you next time.